Some time back I had this idea about partial baking. So instead of baking the whole shebang, the whole scene, I was thinking that, well, why not just bake a wall or something like that. Thing is, why bake? Well, you could just use Monte Carlo without interpolated and render out and use, for example, Need Video Denoiser, and that will look great. The problem with Monte Carlo without interpolated is that it takes a long time to render. So you try, and so it only creates noise actually. It does not create splotches. The problem with interpolated is that it does not create noise, but it does create splotches. So when you scroll through the animation, you're going to see like tons of splotches really, and just going to look not good. So how do you fix that? Well, there's no really great way without using high settings really, with especially with a minimum pixel spacing setting, especially putting that to something like 1. You'll see that, well, it still creates splotches, right? So what you do is you crank this one up. But that also cranks up the render time. So yeah, so you're kind of like lost in a way. Could use final gather. That would help. Let's see. Final gather versus Monte Carlo. There's, I don't know. There's not. I'm not an expert, but there's not too much of a difference really. There's some difference. But I thought what we look at right now is actually using Monte Carlo interpolated and see how we can actually bake parts of the scene and to save time, or rather to de-splotch, if you want to call it that, areas, so we don't get those splotches. And the only way to do that actually is to, for example, take one wall and bake it. So for example, in this case, I got this wall here. Actually, let me just do some change to that. Let's see. Yeah, so there we go. And as I move that one, so what I'll do is I've just made a clone, really, a copy of this wall right here. And that copy is going to be placed in front of the other one. And I'm going to bake it. So it's fairly straightforward, really. The thing with that, though, is that you can't really have, for example, this object going in front of that wall. That will, because this wall will be baked, and this shadow is not going to pop up on the final render. So if you want to bake this wall, make sure that you don't have any shadows or anything like that affecting it as far as animation goes. It should be static. It's fine that this sphere here is in front of that wall. That's not going to affect it. But as soon as you get a shadow here, or you could also see it another way. I go like this, pump up the luminosity. Let's just pump that really high. You'll see that the wall gets affected. So both the luminosity and or glowing object and shadows should not affect that wall in order for it to work. But as long as it doesn't, then you're fine. Okay, so we're going to make this frame, this wall in frame 0. Make sure that it has same surface or texture or whatever as the original. Make sure you also made a UV map for that second wall so we can bake it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to, let's see, we're going to bake it with a surface baking camera. And I haven't named this properly, but my second wall is layer 3, and this is my UV map texture. And well, I could just say 1024 by 1024 and hit render, and it should bake that wall. You can see that there's noise here. You can see that there are splotches and some noise here. Splotches and, well, splotch noise. Let's just call that splotch noise, right? Okay, so let's save that. What we're going to do, actually, didn't really plan on showing this. But what we're going to do, let's just put this back to perspective and what it used to be. What we're going to do is now we're going to take that wall, we're going to retouch that baked image. That should be this guy. And where are you, Mr. Here? This one. So I'm going to clean this up because as you can see, really quick here, you can see that we got noise here, right? It's got all this kind of noise, which is not that neat. I think first of all, I'm just gonna add some curves here. Now, just so you can see the noise better. So I'll add an adjustment layer. That's pretty good, actually. So you kind of can see what's going on. So you can see that there's a lot of noise going on. We need to get rid of that. There are several tricks actually that we could use to fix that. One is to I'll just copy this. Just deselect this area. So I'll just say layer via copy, lock transparency, and well, the question now is, what do? I could use dust and scratches, and it's not all that bad actually. Actually, it's pretty good. In this case, it's much better than I thought it would be. The other thing I could do is I could use motion blur on that area. This angle here should be the same as this angle, so it should be like that maybe. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see. So just a couple of ways really that on how you can fix that. Now, that's not 100%, so I'll actually take this one and I'll use the smudge finger paint tool and just go like that, just to clean that up. And go like this. Should be good enough. And that's the difference really on those two. Not really sure why. Okay, there's you can see that I need to remove some of this. So I'll make a mask here, gradient and a mask, and I'll go, well, I could go like this, but I'll go like this. I'll remove that. See what I did here, right? I remove that part. So got that one cleaned up, and you know, it's not really necessary to do that, but in this case I don't think it's necessary, but I just want to show you really how to clean up Bake GI renders really, as far as walls go and stuff. I can just merge this, Control E now. I might as well, even though you might want to have a backup for that later on. Let's see. We'll do the same thing over again. Assertive. Take this wall right here. I think actually I'm going to deselect this black by using the magic wand. And now take this one, layer V, copy, lock the transparency. What I'll do right now is actually to, again, I'm using the curves here to preview. So, because you're not going to see this in the video unless I use curves just to preview the noise. So remember that. Okay, so I'm having this one, and I'm going to use this one, I think. Okay, looks pretty good. Preview off on. Yeah, it's pretty good actually, the default there. I'm going to use create a mask here though, because as you can see, there's a line here. When you running that plugin, it didn't do everything 100%, so I'm going to remove that area. I'm just going to create a mask, and could use the gradient tool to remove that like that, or I could just use a brush really, the brush tool to go like that. I could even then, after having run that brush tool, I could use the blur, Gaussian blur, to blur that out a bit. Something like that. Yeah, looks very good. So I'm not sure if you can see the difference here on the video, the YouTube video, but it's clean. So I'll take this one and let's get to this area. Just using the magic wand to get rid of that black. What happened? That was too much. Yeah. Layer VO. Copy didn't work. Layer VO copy. Lock the transparency. Again, I'm going to use, well, you could actually Gaussian blur it as well. Could Gaussian blur it. I believe though that, well actually if I Gaussian blur it, then it's going to blur this area. But you can see that there's kind of like a straight line here, right? And let's see how dust and scratches behaves instead. Yeah, it keeps that line somewhat. Maybe that would be good actually, something like that, something like 50. I think that's nice, very good. So I know that this looks good now, so I'm actually just going to take these three and merge them down control by using Control E. I'm not going to save the layers. You could do the same thing here. Let's see. I actually think that dust and scratches would be the best way here as well. Lock the transparency and use. That one seems high. Yeah. Now by doing that, you can actually see that some of that highlight is removed. So you might want to try to get that back by running some kind of adjustment on that. Maybe just as simple as no. I could just use a dodge tool actually with I don't know, medium, no, midtones, highlights. No, that didn't work. It's not doing quite what I want here. Let's duplicate that one actually. Then use overlay. No. See if there's any layers that we could. Not sure if this one could work. If I adjust the contrast on that one. Yeah. Ah, I hate this when I don't get it to work. think I know what to do actually. I'll duplicate it and I'll set it to I'll make it more blue, I guess. Yeah. I'll make a mask on that one. Gradient mask like that. This is way too much, but you get the idea. Maybe we can put it to 40% maybe. 40. So now it's slightly more like the original. Now I really wouldn't go with that, be that picky about it. I wouldn't be that picky about it, but I just wanted to show you really how you can go about this. So I think that's a good idea, so that you know how you can do this later on. So of course that should be the same rule should apply for this one as well. Maybe a copy. Dust and scratch it with the same settings. I kind of like did a stupid thing here actually. I should have taken that in one go. Would be smarter. Okay, layer via copy and run lock transparency, run dust and scratches on that one. Clean that up slightly using the smudge finger paint tool, like that. So that's kind of like manual. Duplicate it, add some blue. But you can always, you can always adjust that later on anyway. If you want to. Create a mask. I'll just use the gradient here, like I've done before. Followed by the smudge, I guess. Yeah, why not? So now instead of that, you got this. Kind of like exaggerated it here, but it's not that bad. There are also other ways to do this. Come to think of it, I can make a new layer here. I could use. Sorry about this getting so long. This preview, but I guess maybe it's for the best. I don't know. Like that, and turn this one down and this one up. Right. Still think it should be a bit more glowy. And what we'll do now is that we'll Gaussian blur that. We can make a mask. Just remove it. So you can see that I got some extra glow if I want that. You probably don't, but hey, I thought I'd show you. So now it's all cleaned up. Again, remember that this curve is just to show you guys the adjustment and how we cleaned that up. So we'll turn that off. And you should save the layers always, but I'm just going to flatten this and save it actually. Now what we'll do is take that wall we had and the baked wall. Now we're going to use that UV map we made and smack on that wall. And that should be good. I guess I could just move this back now so you can see that it's actually baked, right? You'll see that though that when we baked it, it actually got slightly darker. And that's also because we have some settings turned on here, but it does actually get brighter, not darker, but brighter. So we're going to adjust that. Oh, actually, we already adjusted it. Let's see if I can reload this one. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. This is anyway some suggested settings really that you should use after having baked. It's just turning down the brightness and contrast really on your source image. I tried using a sRGB, but that just gets too dark and this gets too bright, so you need to adjust it. You can also do that in post if you want to, in Photoshop or something like that. Okay, so now it's baked. The problem is that all the lights and radiosity is still affecting that baked wall, so we need to fix that. And the way we fix that is by saying unseen by rays, radiosity, no shadows, no cast shadow, no received shadow. And that's pretty close actually. I don't know why, but it's not fixing. It's not a total fix, because if I go to frame 60 now, for example, and I render, there's a plugin, by the way, that you can use that actually will turn this render status off. Okay, I did 4 renders now, and if I scroll through those 4 frames, you can see that there's still some flicker going on there. Not all that much, but it's still present, so it's not quite there yet. I'm not quite sure why that is, because I told the render to hit unseen by rays and radiosity on that wall, so I'm not really sure why it didn't exclude the lights as well. But I guess that's me being a partly newbie. You can see it has less splotches, right, compared to this floor and this wall right here. But to take it a bit further, to remove it completely or almost completely, we're going to exclude that light and exclude the radiosity. What we're going to do then, we're going to take that wall, pump up the luminosity here to 100%. That should fix it, hopefully. So let's do that over again. Where this one and 60 frame 61, 62, 63, 64. Hopefully now that flicker is gone. So if I now use page up and page down, you'll see that flicker is completely gone on that wall. No splotches, no flicker. You can also see my exaggerated radiosity bounds here that I made in Photoshop. That was a bit much actually, but gives you an idea, and that's pretty cool actually for NPR renders, non-photorealistic renders like manga renders and stuff like that. Anime, it's cool for stuff like that, that you can actually bake this, and you could make a, the render be an artistic expression. And it's also actually good for photoreal stuff, where you want to fake stuff, like say you want maybe more bloom here or something like that, and it's fairly easy to add that in post. Actually, I could do that right now, but as you can see in this test, it works, at least as far as, yeah, it does work. So of course this one still has splotches, but that's because we didn't bake that. The wall is clean and nice. As long as this object doesn't go in front of that one. The thing you could do though, if this object moves in front of that, you'll see that, okay, that doesn't cast a shadow. But what you could do actually is you could add a clip map to this fake wall, to this baked wall. And that way you could actually reveal that shadow in that area. So that would be, so what you would do actually, I'm not going to show you right now. I'll take it you know some Lightwave. So what you would do actually is that you would add a clip map, and you would add a spherical image or something like that. A spherical image. Maybe I should just try it. Maybe I always say I'm not going to show you, and then I end up doing it anyway. Stupid me. I guess the easiest way to do that is something like this. So we'll make this black, and then I'll blur the hell out of it, or kind of, something like that. And maybe I could use the solve for that one. Yeah, I guess. So I'll merge that down. And yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. Be sure to save that as PNG, not JPEG. JPEG is going to screw things up because it's compressed. So Clipmap, we'll just save it as clean PNG. It's been such a long time since I did this, so I I could use a null reference, but I'm just going to do a simple test, really. Okay, so I'm almost forgetting. There we go. No repeats. We don't need this. We should have that. That should be on the z-axis, actually. Shouldn't it? Well, it's there. I just don't know where. Oh, it's behind there. Now, what I could do is I could create a null here and make that texture follow that null. So that would be easier, but I'm actually just going to do it another way. Let's see. I'm kind of sleepy, so there we go. Why is it moving like that? Is there something wrong with this Clipmap? Oh, okay, I need to invert it. There we go. Okay, so now you can see that actually when I'm moving this Clipmap, it's actually revealing that shadow, which is good. I think I should scale this up. So you see that? How this Clipmap actually reveals that shadow? So that's how you could actually combine those two. Combine the flat wall, with the baked render. So you can see that actually works. The Clipmap I made, it's not really that good. It's a bit too blurred, I guess, but well, maybe it's good. I don't know. It does have too low resolution, come to think of it. But if I render the next frame now, you'll see that it does work. Hopefully. Now, it should work better in your case with more, with a Clipmap that has a higher resolution. Actually, this was too low. Let's scroll through those renders. And you can see there's much less splotching going on here on that wall now, because I used a Clipmap and combined with that baked wall. So I should just zoom in on that a bit, I guess. Let's see. Again, it's a bad Clipmap, so don't mind this noise right here. This noise right here, that's because of the splotching. So that's of course gonna be there. You can see that this is baked and flat and nice, no noise, no splotching. This animated region with a Clipmap now has noise, but you're not gonna really see that all that much when this shadow is moving fast. And if it's not moving fast, then you can use Neat Video or something like that to clean that up fairly easily. So yeah, more tricks than I thought I would show in this video, but hey, what do you know? Sometimes that happens. There's also another trick actually. I'm not talking about halving the render time by rendering the GI first and then the reflection. That could halve the render time. I talked about that before, but there's another trick actually where you could actually render out the difference in two renders and use that as a clip map. But I'm not going to show that now. That's like, that'll take another 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So. But yeah, this is a trick that could be useful actually. I never tested it before for real. I mean, like, to see that it actually worked, but it does seem to work actually. So, might be an idea.